Hello, boys and girls, and welcome to today's math lesson. Before we get started, let's go over our I can statement. Our I can statement is, I can organize, represent, and interpret data with up to 3 categories. So remember, on Monday and Tuesday, we were talking about graphing. So that's mostly what we're going to be talking about today, but we're talking about a different type of graph. So remember, Monday, we talked about bar graphs and how to organize data and represent data in a bar graph, and how to also answer questions and interpret data from a bar graph. Then on Tuesday, we talked about tally charts and how to collect data using tallies. Yesterday, we did review for place value, and today we are going to be talking about pictographs. But before we do that, we got to do our number talk. So I would like everyone to go ahead and get out their math notebook and a pencil, and we're going to go ahead and get started. Woohoo, number talk. All right, these are the dots I want you to look at. I want you to think about different ways you can count these dots. Now remember, if you think of different ways to count these dots, that is totally all right. I hope you do. Remember, if you need to, you can always pause this video to think of different ways to count these dots and then hit play again, and you can join with us. I'm going to stand off the screen so you can see the dots while I think of ways to count. Remember, if you need to, you can always hit pause. I thought of 3 ways I could count these objects. One way I thought I could count is I can count by ones, okay? So let's all count by ones together. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So if I count by ones, I get 12. Now you should be writing this in your notebook. Another way I thought I could count by is I can count by 2s. Okay, and let's see what we get. We're going to count together. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So I got 12 again. I can count by ones and get 12, and I can count by 2s and get 12. Then the last way I thought is I can count by using addition. I can count by using addition. So I can see that there is a group of 6 over here on this side, and there's a group of 6 over here on this side. I could do 6 plus 6. Now, if you can't do 6 plus 6 in your head, you know 6 is here. So you can always squeeze 6 into your brain, leave it in there, don't let it fall out, and count on. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 6 plus 6 equals 12. So of course, if I count using by addition, I get 12. So all of those ways would be great ways to find 12. So you can count and find 12. So find 12 by counting by ones, find 12 by counting by 2s, and you can count by using addition, and you also get 12. 6 plus 6 equals 12. So that is our number talk for today. If you need a second to write that down, you can always hit pause and then hit play again. Alrighty, moving on. We are getting back into graphing. So today what we're going to be talking about is something called pictographs. Okay. So this is what a pictograph looks like. So you can tell that they graphed, maybe it was someone voting on their favorite shapes. So 4 people voted for triangles, 2 for squares, 3 for stars, 1 for circle, and 2 for hearts. And then that other one is showing the school lunch choices. So what were their favorite lunch choices? And they use smiley faces for the students. So that are 2 different types of pictographs. Now, looking at this first word, pictograph. So looking at this first little part of the word, pic. What is pic short for? A picture, right? So a pictograph is simply a picture graph. So a graph that uses pictures to organize data, okay? So a pictograph is the same thing as picture graphs. We're going to watch a quick video on BrainPop Junior about pictographs. Then we're going to do a couple examples and we'll go over your Seesaw activity for the day. Oop, because I have a marker up. Hold on one second. There we go. Alrighty.
How many books have you read this month, Moby? I'm making a pictograph that shows how many books people read. Let's see. You read 2 books. What is a pictograph? A pictograph is a graph that organizes and shows information using pictures. The title tells you what the pictograph is about. This graph shows how many books people read. The labels show the names of people and the number of books each person read. This is the key. No, not that kind of key. The key explains what each picture stands for. According to this key, 1 star on the graph stands for 1 book. Count the stars to find out how many books each person read. I read 1, 2, 3 books. Becca read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 books. Becca is a bookworm. Here's a pictograph that shows people's favorite subjects. What subject do people like best? Each pencil stands for 1 vote. Math got the most votes. 8 people said it was their favorite subject. Which subject got 3 votes? Right, Moby. Social studies got 3 votes. This pictograph shows people's favorite color. Each paintbrush stands for 2 votes. How many people like blue? You can skip count the pictures by 2 to count the votes. 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 people chose blue as their favorite color. How many people chose green as their favorite color? There's half a paintbrush there. Since a whole paintbrush stands for 2 votes, half a paintbrush must stand for 1 vote. So 1 person chose green as their favorite color. Cool, it's lunchtime. How can you make a pictograph? I'm starving. Should I get an apple or a pear? Which fruit do you like best? Let's take a survey about what type of fruit people like best. A survey is a list of questions used to collect information or opinions. You like bananas the best. so do a lot of other kids. You can record information from your survey into a tally chart. You organize tally marks into groups of 5 so they're easier to count. There are 5, 10, 15 tally marks. How many people like pairs the best? Start with 5, then count on 2, 6, 7. 7 people like pairs the best. You can use information from the tally chart to make a pictograph. First, draw a chart with 2 columns. Write the title and write the choices on the left. Then, create your key and pick a simple picture to stand for your votes. I'm going to use a smiley face. One smiley face will stand for 1 vote. Then, I fill in the pictograph. Since 10 people voted for apples, I draw 10 smiley faces in the graph. 7 people liked pears, so I draw 7 smiley faces in the graph. 2 people voted for grapes. 6 people voted for bananas. Pictographs help organize and show data or information so you can understand it better. Which fruit got the most votes? Apple. How many more votes did pears get than grapes? 5 more people voted for pears than grapes. You can also show the same information in a different way. Whoa, Moby, that's a lot of fruit. Are you going to share? Thanks, Moby.
Alrighty. So we're going to go over an example together. Okay, so this is showing an example of a pictograph. It's actually showing favorite fruit, which is really great because it shows you exactly what Annie and Moby just showed you, right? That a smiley face was equal to, let me try and expand this so you can see it better. So, not gonna let me do it. I'm at the bottom of the screen. Hold on 1 second. That's why. I will just scroll to where it is. Okay, so this is showing you a smiley face equals 1 student. And then it showed you that they voted for bananas, right? Apples and oranges, okay? Bananas had 3 votes. Apples had 7 votes. And oranges had 5 votes. So then to interpret that, it asked you to look at the pictograph or the picture graph and answer these questions. How many students chose banana? So they picked 3 because there's 3 smiley faces, which equal 1 student. Then which fruit is the most favorite? They saw that apple got the most votes, right? They had the most votes, so they circled apple. So that is a great example of how to do a picture graph. All right, let's do one together. This one is talking about, and you don't need to do this one in your notebook, but the next one I do want you to copy into your notebook so you can practice. So this one is talking about the favorite school trip. So they went to the museum, the zoo, or a play. And then it says, here's the key. Okay, the key says each smiley face equals 1 student. This is the title, and these are the labels. Remember, we went over titles, labels, and keys on Mondays and Tuesdays lesson. So this is your title. It's talking about these are the votes for the favorite school trip. The labels are these are the school trips they went on, museum, zoo, and play. And then the key is each smiley face equals 1 student. So that tells you what this is worth. Okay. So looking at the museum, how many people voted for the museum as their favorite school trip? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 people voted for the museum. Let's count the zoo. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 people voted for the zoo. Play. 1, 2. 2 people voted for the play. This wants to know how many students chose the museum. Okay, so we just counted the museum, but let's go ahead and count it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So 8 people chose the museum. That's how many people chose the museum as their favorite school trip. Then it wants to know which trip is the least favorite. Which trip? It doesn't want to know the number. It wants to know which one, museum, zoo, or play. That's right, it's the play. So I'm going to circle the play. Okay? Now, this is the one I want you to pause the video, and if you can, copy this top part here, okay? I know it's kind of hard to see, but I want you to be looking at this data and analyzing it. All right. Once you're back and you hit play, we're going to get started. So our title of this picture graph is Favorite Lunch. So they must be voting on their favorite lunch. The labels are the types of lunch. There's pasta, soup, and taco. The key says each smiley face equals 1 student. So each smiley face equals 1 student. So you can tell from this key right here that each of these is going to be worth 1. Let's go ahead. I want you to look at this graph, but let's go ahead and just answer the questions. This wants to know how many students chose pasta. So we're going to go to pasta and we're going to count the smiley faces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many people chose pasta? 5. So you're going to write 5 on the line. The second question wants to know how many students chose soup. So then we're going to go to soup and we're going to count how many people voted for soup. 1, 2, 3. So you'll write 3 on the line. Then the last question is which lunch is the least favorite? So is it which lunch, not the number, which lunch? So which label is the least favorite? Is it pasta, soup, or taco? Soup, that's right. So you would circle soup is the least favorite item. So this is how you organize a picture graph as well as interpret the data in a picture graph. Okay, we are moving right along. Now what I want to go over is I actually want to take a look at your Seesaw lesson that you will have today. So what it goes through, this is the first screen you will see, is you will see an example of a picture graph and how to answer the questions. So this is your favorite snack. They voted between pretzels and an apple. The key was each smiley face equals 1 student, and all the question asked was which snack is the most favorite. And that would be pretzels because you would count that pretzels have more than apples. And you could even see it just looking at the graph that there's more smiley faces for pretzels than there are for apples. So, same thing as our previous lessons. There is a little megaphone here. It'll look blue on your screen. I want you to tap that megaphone because it gives you specific directions on how to complete each problem. It will read the questions to you, okay? So,
All right, boys and girls, this is for page 2, number 1. You're looking at this picture graph here. Each smiley face equals 1 student. They are voting on their favorite season. So is it spring, summer, fall, or winter? So using the pencil tool, you're going to answer the following question. How many students chose summer? So you're going to write that number on the line. How many students chose fall? Write that number on the line. And then you're going to use the pencil tool to circle which season is the least favorite. So which one is the least favorite?
okay. So as you can see, that gave you specific directions. You'll hear me talking, specific directions about how to answer this picture graph. Now, you can always hit pause on that. So if you want to listen to the first one, answer the first one, hit pause on the megaphone, hit play. Listen to number 2, hit pause, answer number 2, hit play, answer number 3, okay? So you can hit pause and it won't take it back to the beginning. It'll pause it exactly where it stopped. Then, so that's question number 1. Question number 2, okay? Question number 2 wants you to write. You can write using the pencil tool, or you can type using the text box tool. How do you know which category has the least when looking at a picture graph? So I want you to know your reasoning. So how do you know that a category such as the types of fruit that we looked at, how do you know which one has the least when looking at a picture graph? Okay, so I want to know your thinking, your reasoning. Then question number 3, same thing there though. You have the megaphone to read the directions. Megaphone again to read the directions. Exactly what's going on in this picture graph. You need to look at it, and then you're going to answer this question about this picture graph, okay? Fairly simple activity. If you need to, though, you can always come back, rewatch this lesson, go back over picture graphs, rewatch the video with Annie and Moby. I know that's very helpful. So if you need to, come back, rewatch this lesson. Same goes for Mrs. Lockie's class as well. And then you can go ahead and work on this seesaw activity. I am so excited that you joined me today. I'll see you next time. Bye, boys and girls.